If you've got a peptide vial sitting right in front of you right now, and you don't even know what lyophilized means, you're in the right place. Lyophilized, bacteriostatic water, sub-Q, units versus milligrams, and somewhere in all of that, you're supposed to figure out what to actually do next. That's how most people start off peptides, confused, overwhelmed, and about to inject something into their body that they barely understand. Not even sure if they're going to get the benefits that they're looking for or if they're taking unnecessary risks. I'm Dr. Jones, DC, and I lead the coaching department at our nationwide telemedicine practice, and peptides are what I do every single day. My team prescribes these compounds. I use them personally, and I've walked thousands of patients through their first reconstitution. In the next few minutes, I'm gonna hand you the 5-step priority order because sequence matters more than the stack. The injection basics that you actually need, the class of peptides that you probably don't need, and the 4 biggest myths going around online right now. And if that's useful, then you need to hit that subscribe button because we put out GLP-1 and peptide videos every single week. Okay, so let's get into it. So let's start with what peptides actually are, because half the confusion online starts right here. Peptides are signaling molecules, right? That's the whole game. They're short chains of amino acids that tell your body to do things that it already knows how to do. Heal tissue, reduce inflammation, release growth hormone, regulate appetite. They're not steroids. Steroids override your body's natural production and flood you with exogenous hormones. Peptides work the opposite way. You see, they signal your body to do more of what it's already doing. Totally different mechanism, totally different risk profile. And here's the part most beginners miss. There's an order to peptides, a priority order. You skip the order and you'll burn $800 on compounds that don't do what you thought they would. Step number 1 is the lifestyle foundation: protein, lifting, sleep optimization, metabolic health. And step number 1 isn't even the peptides at all. Step 2 is the metabolic reset. If you've got insulin resistance or obesity, that's a GLP-1 territory. And then step 3 is the need to have peptides, inflammation, and gut. This is where most people should actually start their peptide journey. Step 4 are the nice to have peptides: fat mobilization, right here, making this fat available to burn, growth hormone optimization, real tools, just not the priority initially. Step 5 is anti-aging, longevity, skin, late journey stuff. Foundation first always, because peptides amplify your body's current state. Now, if that state is broken, there's nothing to amplify. They won't do much. You're just spending a bunch of money for no reason. Skipping step is how people end up saying peptides are duds. They're not duds in most cases, depending where you get them. The orders got skipped. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, if peptides work, why aren't they FDA approved? And that's a fair question. Here's the answer. Most peptides are natural compounds. They can't be patented. And without a patent, no pharma company is going to spend $500 million running these phase 3 clinical trials because there's no return on investment. GLP-1s got the funding because they're patentable molecules. Different story. But the absence of big pharma trials doesn't mean the absence of evidence. Decades of international clinical use, preclinical research, and thousands of patient outcomes, probably hundreds of thousands across the country, just thousands in our own clinic. That's real data. It's just not in the journals that you'd expect. The legitimate path forward is working with a doctor through a 503A pharmacy. That's regulated above board version of peptide access. It's how you stay on the right side of sourcing. Now, if you're sitting there right now wondering whether what you ordered online is even real or you want pharmacy grade peptides through a medical team that actually works with these compounds, that's exactly what we do, guys. You can text the number on the screen if you have any questions or click that link in the description to book your free discovery call. My patient educators will walk you through what's available and what it's like to work with our team. Okay, now, injection mastery. This is where a lot of beginners get into some real trouble. The most important thing in this entire section, the water matters. And not in a fun fact way. This can land you in the hospital sort of way. Okay, there are 2 kinds of water that look the same. Bacteriostatic water has a benzoyl alcohol in it that kills bacteria. Regular sterile water does not. I had a patient who sourced peptides online and constituted with regular sterile water that he had from another medication. He ended up with severe bacterial infection at his injection site. Emergency care situation. That's the kind of mistake that can land you in the hospital or even worse. Number 2, the math. Your syringe measures in units. Your dose is measured in milligrams. Those are 2 different units of measurement. I'm not walking you through a specific worked example here because the math depends on your vial and your prescribed dose. Your medical team should handle that for you. But what I want you to walk away with is why the math matters. Get it wrong and you're either overdosing or wasting the peptides entirely. Okay, number 3, reconstitution technique. leak. Both the vial and the water at room temperature. Sanitize the vial top with an alcohol swab every single time. Angle the needle against the side of the vial and let the water run down. Don't shoot it directly into the powder. Then swirl gently. Never shake. Peptides are fragile. Shaking damages them. Number 4, subcutaneous injection. Most peptides are subcutaneous. They're not intramuscular. That means belly fat or love handles. Pinch, angle based on body fat, rotate sites, sanitize every single time. Number 5, storage. Unreconstituted vials can stay room temperature stable, but you can leave them in the fridge in case you're a little bit unsure about the actual temperature for you and your house, because sometimes it might be a little bit hotter, especially if it's summertime. But once reconstituted, they live in the fridge, away from light, and they're generally good for about anywhere between 1 and 4 months, depending on the peptide. Now, the 5 mistakes that blow up even perfect math: wrong water, unit milligram confusion, reused needles, unsanitized vial tops, room temperature handling. Once you can reconstitute and inject safely, the real question becomes whether the peptide will actually work for you. And that comes back to the priority order. Now, before I walk through all 5 steps, which one do you think you would struggle with the most? Hold that guess in your head. Okay, step 1, the lifestyle foundation. This isn't peptides, this is your life. Protein first. That's the rule, 1 gram per pound of target body weight. That's the only macro that I ask patients to track from day number 1. Resistant training 3 to 4 times a week. Sleep optimization, 7 to 9 hours quality sleep. If you're dealing with an untreated hormonal issue or insulin resistance, baseline labs will help us identify so that we can work on fixing that. Because here's the principle: peptides amplify the body's current state. And if that state includes untreated dysfunction, peptides won't do jack you know what. Foundation first, amplifier concept. Okay, step 1 matters more than any other peptide that you'll ever run. Step 2, the metabolic reset. If you've got insulin resistance, obesity, dysregulated hunger, this is probably a GLP-1 territory. Here's what people get wrong about GLP-1s in the peptide conversation. They're not just a weight loss drug, they're a metabolic reset tool. They reduce systemic inflammation, they quiet food chatter, and they create the window that you need to actually build your foundation. I use one personally, not for weight loss, but for dysregulated hunger. My body runs high on appetite. It has my entire life, and that's why I was a 300-pound 16-year-old with very little muscle. Couldn't do a freaking push-up at my peak. GLP-1s give me a clean baseline. The rule on dosing is the lowest effective dose. Find your sweet spot, the dose that quiets food noise without over-suppressing your appetite, and stay there. You should be trending down on dose, not up. After you implement proper lifestyle interventions, you might need to go up a little bit in the beginning. The mistake that I see constantly in people, over-suppressing themselves into what I call battery saving mode. They're eating under 1,000 calories a day, their metabolism has crashed, their freaking hair's falling out, their energy's gone, and they're not losing weight anymore. That's not weight loss, that's controlled starvation. Taking a GLP-1 without lifting heavy weights is like draining a pool and hoping only the dirty water leaves. You lose muscle right alongside the fat. This is 1 pound of fat, and this is 1 pound of muscle. The long-term goal is metabolic independence. Your body defends a lower weight set point through lifestyle, and the GLP-1 can taper to a microdose later on in the future because they're a tool. One more thing, step 2 is often parallel to step 3, not strictly after. Some patients need gut and inflammation work at the same time. Depends on the body, depends on the labs. Okay, step 3, the need to have peptides, inflammation and gut healing. This is where most people should actually start their peptide journey, and it's the step that people skip the most. Here's why step 3 comes first. Inflammation is the amplifier destroyer. If your body's inflamed from gut dysfunction, chronic injury, or autoimmune activity, running healing or optimization peptides on top of that is like mopping the floor while the faucet's still running. The core compounds in step 3. Okay, BPC 157, TB 500, KPV, and GHK-Cu. BPC 157 is a tissue repair peptide. It helps your body build new blood vessels to damaged tissues. That's what angiogenesis means in plain English. TB 500 works on the actin dynamics, the scaffolding that your cells use to heal. It just helps bring the cells to where they need to go. Paired together, 157 and TB 500 are what we call the Wolverine stack, named for a reason. I've watched patients bring chronic injuries back from the edge with that pair. KPV is different. It's an inflammation specialist, and it heals the gut barrier specifically. Now, here's the part where most people miss. GLP-1s reduce your systemic inflammation. That's real. GLP-1s don't repair your gut lining. KPV does. And that's why patients with gut dysfunction often run KPV alongside GLP-1s. Different system, BPC 157, KPV together attack systemic inflammation from two different angles. GHK-copper is the multitasker, skin, wound healing, tissue repair, anti-inflammatory effects. Combined with BPC and TB500, we call that the glow stack. You add KPV to glow and now you've got the CLO. This is what we would run for autoimmune and gut issue patients. Let me give you an example. Injured athlete, chronic tendonitis, failed physical therapy for 9 months, about to give up on training. So we ran a Wolverine stack under medical supervision along his rehab protocol. He was back to training in 8 weeks. That's not a miracle. That's the body with the right signaling molecules finally getting the proper message. Peptides are a fire hose, but if gasoline is still being poured on fire, inflammatory diet, untreated root cause, no rehab work, the hose can't win. Address the fuel first, then use the hose. Okay, now before we go to step 4, if someone could only get one peptide step right, which one do you think would matter the most? I want you to sit on that. Okay, so step 4 is the nice to have peptides. Optimization. These are the real tools. They work, they just come after step 3 is handled. There's 2 buckets here, fat mobilization and growth hormone optimization. So fat mobilization, think AOD 9604, MOT-C, Sloop 332. We call this the category exercise in a bottle because these compounds activate metabolic pathways similar to what happens when you train hard. You pair a GLP-1 with, say, AOD 9604 and you get the metabolic 2-piece. The GLP-1 creates the demand side, appetite goes down, calorie deficit in place. AOD mobilizes the stored fat to supply the calorie deficit. Now, there's a critical caveat here. These need a demand signal to amplify. No fasting, no training, no metabolic pressure. These compounds do very little, but without a demand signal, there's nothing for them to amplify. Then we got growth hormone optimization, CJC-1295, Ipamorelin, Tesamorelin. These boost natural growth hormone levels in a pulsatile fashion. Prerequisites matter here. Testosterone dialed in if you need it, adequate protein, resistance training, sleep hygiene. Boosting growth hormone when your testosterone is tanked is like putting premium gas in a car with no engine. I got another patient example for you. GLP-1 responder who'd lost 40 pounds but felt weak. Classic battery saving mode pattern from undereating. So we added CJC and Ipamorelin plus a real resistance training program. 4 months later, same body weight but completely different body composition. Now we gotta talk about MK677. This technically lives in this category on paper, but I'll be blunt about this one here in the myths section. It's the compound I actively steer patients away from. Okay, step 5, anti-aging, longevity, skin, late journey peptides. Epitalin for longevity signaling, GHK-copper for skin and hair, Tesamorelin for its longevity applications. This is the smallest slice of the video on purpose because almost no beginner should ever start here. Now, if you're wondering where you fit, you're certainly almost not at step 5, and that's fine. The point isn't to get there fast. It's to know that it exists and to not waste money trying to skip ahead. All right. Now that's the 5-step priority order. That's how peptides are actually meant to sequence. Now before I get to the hacks, let me know in the comments here, which step are you currently on right now? Number 1, are you building your foundation? 2, are you on a GLP-1? 3, are you working on inflammation and gut? 4, are you optimizing? Or 5, are you doing the anti-aging work? I read all the comments and I'll jump in and tell you what most people get wrong, where they think they're at. Okay, so let's talk hacks now. 4 universal, then 5 step specific. Okay, so hack number 1, start low and go slow. Every peptide, every time. Your biology is unique and the standard dose isn't necessarily your dose. Hack number 2, baseline labs before you start. I'm talking IGF-1, fasting insulin, CRP, and thyroid, functional panels at a minimum. You can't optimize what you don't measure. Hack number 3, consistency beats intensity. Erratic dosing creates erratic results and peptides signal your body over time. Hack number 4, there's no kitchen sink stacking here. 1 compound at a time, 2 to 4 weeks, evaluate, and then add the next one. Stacking 5 freaking peptides on day number 1 is how you learn nothing. Okay, now let's get into the step specific. Step 1, don't move on until labs and lifting are locked. The temptation to skip to peptides is the number 1 money waster in this space. Step 2, plan the off-ramp before you start. Metabolic independence is the goal here, not the lifetime medication. Step 3, local injections near a specific injury can outpace systemic dosing. Ask your provider. Step 4, dose CJC and Ipamorelin to align with your natural growth hormone pulse and watch fasting glucose long term. Step 5, timelines are long. Cycles are weeks to months, not days. Patience isn't optional. Before you inject your first dose, the last thing that you need is a reality check on what you've been hearing online. So let's cover those 4 myths, okay? Number 1, peptides are legal steroids. No, steroids override your body's natural hormone production. Peptides signal your body to do more of what it's already doing. Different mechanisms, different risk profiles, not the same category. Okay, number 2, if GLP-1s are FDA approved, all peptides must be equally proven. GLP-1s got pharma backing because they're patentable, but most peptides can't be patented, so no one funds the big trials. That's not the peptides' faults, it's the economic model. Okay, myth number 3, MK677 is an oral growth hormone peptide. And I'll be blunt about this one. MK677 isn't technically a peptide, it is what we call a small molecule drug. It activates the ghrelin receptors, and ghrelin is the hunger hormone. So what most users actually notice first isn't growth hormone benefits, it's brutal appetite increases. And the bigger problem, clinical trials show MK raises insulin resistance sometimes by 15 to 20%. That's why it never got FDA approval. MK677 is the compound that I actively steer patients away from. If you want growth hormone benefits without the metabolic damage, that's what CJC, IPA, or Ipamorelin is for. The convenience is great, I get it, but it's not worth working against your metabolic health, especially if you are already insulin resistant and you're trying to get in front of that. Quick check before the last myth here. How much of what we just covered could you have caught on your own? Myth number 4, most peptides are duds. This is the big one. Most peptides don't fail because the compound is bad. They fail because people skip to step 4 when they should have been at step 3. The peptide isn't the problem, guys. The protocol is. Match the peptide to the right step in the right order and you'll stop calling peptides duds, I promise. Okay, so there's the playbook. 5-step priority order, injection basics, inflammation first, optimization later, myth corrections. You now know what most beginners don't. But information isn't a plan. Information doesn't know what your labs say, what your step is, and what compounds actually match your body. If you've been burned by sketchy sourcing, wasting money on peptides because you were at the wrong step, or you want pharmacy grade access to a medical team that works with these compounds, that's what we do, guys. You can speak to our patient educators that will help you understand what it's like to work with my coaching team, our medical doctors, and whether or not this will be a right fit for you. You can text the number on the screen with any questions about that, or you can check out the link in the description to book your free discovery call. Now, if losing body fat is one of your goals with peptides, then you need to check out this video right here so that you can get in the best shape of your life before summertime. We'll see you later.